What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of V4T Your Eternity. This is episode 13, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
hmm Honestly, there really isn't much to really say about this episode, considering that it's just
Yeah.
continuing on with this weekly thing about them getting ready to fight against the Knockers.
A lot of these
They
episodes have
mentioned
been
it,
build up for this conflict.
yeah, especially like pretty much it just shows off like Fushi continuing to rebuild parts of the city, including like rebuilding like a giant, the giant wall that was torn down prior to this. Um, and of course, I think I think some of it is focused on Fushi and Echo's relationship in a
Yeah, the
way.
episode focuses somewhat on Echo and her, I guess, in her own way, helping out with rebuilding the city here. Well, she specifically fixes the problem with the water supply because at the beginning of the episode, Echo tries to feed Fushi something that's in water, but the water is dirty, so it doesn't taste good. She ends up finding the problem with the water supply, which is some kind of blockage in the sewer, I guess. And she has tell somebody so they can help her. I guess help her out with it. But yeah, and then she ends up cooking food for Fushi that I guess is a lot better than what she cooked for him before. But yeah, there is somewhat of a focus on their relationship, which I liked that they did that because I felt like it was kind of there wasn't really much of that in the previous episodes. She was just kind of in the background.
Yeah. Um, I, I mean, yeah, it's just like I said, the remainder of this episode was just Fushi just taking his time to help rebuild portions of the city, with some of his friends just coming out telling him like, hey, you've been working a lot since you started. You should probably take a rest. But then there are times when Fushi just like goes around it saying like he can just reform himself and I guess in a way just keeps him from being tired or sleepy of sorts. And then at times like he just even though when it looks like he's sleeping, he um I guess he remotely controls his other self in another part of the town, continuing to build more houses.
Yeah, it seems like at this point, like Fushi's body, I guess, is connected to the almost to the entire city because of how many of these buildings he's built and just and is like connected to in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
and
yeah,
yeah, but I guess the most interesting part of this episode was is pretty much the entire town literally catching on that there's something going on with a lot of these buildings that Fushi's rebuilding. Like for
I'm
example,
honestly kind of shocked that it took them this long to notice.
yeah, like with the I guess with the white slime or film or
Yeah,
whatever you call it whenever they're trying to move something. I mean, that's what happens like when Fushi manifests something, and I guess it comes to a head in which I think one of the soldiers, I think his name is Cam, uh, asks Fushi to, I guess, fake being like a competitor or a different soldier of sorts. Um,
yeah.
so so people around Cam just starts questioning him about like where this person came from and why he behaves the way that he is, and then they eventually like, well, it gets to a point where they kind of take it a little bit too far and end up injuring Cam's left arm. So they eventually find out that Fushi's alive and well and not dead, thanks to the what was it? Thanks to the Bennett Church.
Yeah, I mean, they all kind of catch on that Fushi has been, um, is the one that, yeah, well, they find out Fushi's the one that's building these walls and these houses. Um, and Fushi decides to kind of stop hiding and reveal himself. And initially, yeah, the townspeople don't really like take too kindly to this, but then like we see earlier in the episode that Fushi had been going around and helping different people who are in pain, I guess I don't know. I guess maybe because he's built all these houses, maybe his senses are better, so he can just sense what's going on everywhere in the city. So he's just like every time he senses somebody in pain, he goes to help them, and he kind of like slowly built up a reputation. So the townspeople like know that it's him that helped them, and they pretty much like vouch for him. So the whole town kind of begins to respect him. And yeah, so he doesn't really have to, I guess, hide anymore.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much the episode, I guess. It's just
Yeah. I mean, like, and I think like they reveal like I guess the princess knows that Fushi has been doing this supposedly, and especially based on the next episode preview, I guess she finds out that he's in the city, and yeah, there wasn't really too much that happened in this episode. All these episodes have been pretty slow for the most part. There hasn't been like a lot of major plot developments. It's just been Fushi kind of, building these different houses and kind of preparing for the knocker attack.
yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like it's just dragging way too long with them. I guess
It definitely feels like a lot of this could have been significantly like cut down, because it just feels like there's a lot of it's just kind of wasted time with these. It's kind of funny because it's kind of like the opposite problem that we had at the beginning, where it kind of rushed through things, and now it's just been going at a really slow pace. It definitely has a lot of pacing issues, and I think that's the major problem of season 2 so far.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought it was it's still an okay episode. It's definitely I feel like it's definitely gotten a little bit better, compared to, where it was at the beginning of the season, but it's still just is not as good as what season 1 was. It's definitely not as good as the first season.
Yeah, I mean, it's emotional trauma. It's just not there. I mean, it was kind of there when I don't know. At the start of this episode in which Tonari died, but then it's just as soon as like Fushi develops his abilities even further to the point where it's just like he's just like he like basically he's becoming a god at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's pretty much on the level of a god, and it's like what is there left to challenge him? I mean, it just feels like there's no real stakes anymore with the plot.
I mean, other than the knockers, it's just there's one line that Fushi says that even if the church imprisons me again, I'll be out within a couple of days. Because like they can try like casting him in iron again, but he'll probably escape that too.
Yeah, I mean he can't die, so yeah, he'll just keep coming back. But yeah, I just don't really have too much to say about the episode. I mean, it seems like based on the next episode preview, maybe there'll be some interesting things that'll happen, because it seems like there is some individual that Fushi's going to be introduced to by the princess. I'm kind of wondering about him, but yeah, there's not really too much honestly I'm looking forward to with the next episode. It's just all these episodes have been like really, really slow.
Yeah, it's kind of dragging out at this point, to be honest. Yeah. Honestly, I'm hoping it'll be over pretty soon, but yes, I mean we'll have to see what how the story is going to unfold next week and probably the weeks after that.
Yeah, but yeah, guys, that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.